Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jaminator. Today I'm doing something really funky. I'm testing out the new Roaring Moon EX by using some proxy cards. So the Roaring Moon EX doesn't come out until November, but I wanted to practice building some decks and trying it out. This is a prototype Roaring Moon EX deck. It's super basic and it really only has one strategy, and that's to power up your Roaring Moons and attack as fast as possible. There's no really other attackers in the deck. There's not really any tech options. Everything is built towards just powering up those Roaring Moons and going first. So if you haven't seen what Roaring Moon does, it's an insane new card coming out with the brand new set Paradox Rift. This is just a proxy, but it has 230 HP. It's a dark type. It has an ancient trait, which is similar to Rapid Strike, Single Strike, and Fusion Strike. First attack does 2 darkness and a colorless energy. It knocks out the opponent's Pokemon, and if you do that, it does 200 damage to itself. The second attack does 100 damage, and for 2 darkness and 1 colorless energy, it can do that. And then you can do 120 more if you discard a Stadium. So you can use it to knock out EXs and basic Vs. With this is pretty good, but then you use the main attack to knock out the huge health Pokemon. There's a couple of tool cards as well you can use with this to boost its HP up. So in this deck, we're going to be running 3 of those. And this is a darkness type deck, so we're going to be using lots of like the dark Pokemon, energy acceleration, bits of the dark patches. So put those there. And then there's not many Pokemon in this deck. There's 1 Moltres V. I didn't have this one, so I had to make a proxy as well. This is the one that has the ability, put a darkness energy from your discard pile once per turn onto this Pokemon, and then its attack for 2 darkness, 1 colorless, 190 damage, 30 damage recoil. We're not actually using this to attack. We're using this to get the energy onto it, and then we're going to be moving it around. Then we have 1 copy of this basic Galarian Moltres. 50-50, most of the time we'll be using this to put the energy onto the board so we can move it around, but we can also use this to attack. This is our only single prize attacker in the deck, and towards the late game we want to be using this as our late game attacker if we can, to take swing prize trades and force the opponent to boss something out or kill this, and then we actually win a prize trade. Then we have 2 copies of the new Mew EX from Pokemon 151. This is 180 HP, Psychic type, free retreat, basic ability, lets you draw up to 3 cards in your hand. And then for 3 colorless energies, its attack lets you copy the opponent's active Pokemon's attack. It has free retreat and it's weak to dark, and we've got 2 of those. These are going to be very important to make the deck work. These are our support Pokemon. And finally, we have 1 copy of Squawkabilly EX. And everyone should know what this is. Colorless Pokemon, 160 health, 1 retreat. As a stupid attack, does 20 damage with some energy acceleration from the discard. But when we're using it for the ability, it lets you dump your hand on the first turn of the game, get 6 new cards. We're not going to be using this every game, but if you're playing against something that has like a ton of like EX Pokemon in the active and you start the game, you want to guarantee you get the Roaring Moon attack off on the first turn to get a knockout. You're going to need to be running Squawkabilly EX. Alright, let's have a look at what we chose for the deck. So we got some supporters here. Let's run through the supporters first. There's this new Professor Sada's research, or whatever it's called. It is basically Elisa's Sparkle, but for ancient trait Pokemon. You select 2 of your ancient Pokemon on the board, attach a darkness energy, up to 1 darkness energy to each of them, and then if you do, draw 3 cards. So we'll be using 3 of these. This is not the main supporter of the deck. This deck, you're going to be playing this more like Miraidon. You want to be using 4 Professor's Researchers. Discard your hand, draw 7. You probably want to be using these every turn. But towards the mid and late game, or if you're getting really lucky on your first turn, you can just use that new Professor Sada supporter card to charge up your Roaring Moons and go. Then we've got 2 bosses orders and 1 copy of Thornton. This actually comes in quite clutch. You can play down a Galarian Moltres, attach an extra energy to it, Thornton into another Roaring Moon, and you're ready to go with that. So that's pretty cool. You can also use it to get rid of your Squawkabilly or Muse and turn them into like single prize Galarian Moltres if you worry that they're going to get bossed up and killed because they have quite low HP. Then to support our supporter cards, we have 1 copy of Palpad. So we're going to be shuffling this back, our supporters back into the deck with this. We're using this mid and late game to get the bosses and Thorntons back because we're going to be discarding a lot of cards with our Pokestops and Professor's Researchers. So in talking about that, here we have 4 copies of Pokestop. We're going to need to run all 4 because there's like 24 or something items in this deck. So 4 Pokestops. We do have 8 copies of Darkness Energy. This is not like the Darkrai build where you need like 10 or 12, 14 Darkness Energies. This is fine having 8. You probably don't want any less than that, but more is fine as well. But to support our Darkness Energies, we're running this brand new item card, and it's for the Ancient Trait. It's not specific to Ancient Trait, but it has the Ancient Trait on it. It's basically a Capacious Bucket, and it lets you discard 1 card from your hand and search your deck for 2 basic energies, put them into your hand. So we'll be running 4 of these. You're not always going to use them to get the energies out, but we're going to mainly be using them for the discard effect so that we can keep drawing every turn with Mew. So that's very important. You need 4 copies of the old bucket or whatever it's called. That's also from the new set. Ball search options. Now I've tried a few games of this deck with VIP passes, but because we're only running like less than 10 Pokemon, we don't actually need them. So we're going to be running 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball, 3 Nest Balls, and 4 Ultra Balls. And you might be thinking that's a lot of ball search, but we're using the Ultra Balls mainly for thinning our hand so that we can keep drawing more cards with Mew every turn. This deck engine is crazy. It's kind of like playing Miraidon deck with a Genesect draw engine. Alright, now we've also got 2 switch carts for switching. Every Pokemon's basic, super easy. 2 escape ropes. You could probably cut 1 escape rope, put something else in like a Forest Seal Stone, I don't know. And then 3 energy switches. You probably don't need any more than this, but you do need some energy switches. They're super important of getting all the energies ready. Then we're going to get 4 dark patches. So this attaches the darkness energy to your benched dark type Pokemon. And then we've got the new Bravery Charm, but for ancient Pokemon, it's like some capsule thingy. It gives your ancient Pokemon 60 health instead of 50, which Bravery Charm does, and it also gives them status immune. So running 3 of those. And then finally, 1 Super Rod to shuffle all the energies back or Pokemon back. Late game, we probably want to be getting Moltres back, or 1 copy of Roaring Moon to do a finisher, or possibly a Mew Moltres if it gets killed. Mew EX can also attack, which is kind of cool, but you need to charge it up manually or use your energy switches. If you ever want to hit bench Pokemon in the Lost Box matchup, you probably want to be charging up Mew EX, and then you boss up the Radiant Greninja and use its attack to kill 2 Comfeys on the bench. Finally, we've got 2 copies of Pokegear. You probably want to hang on to at least 1 of these for the end of the game so you can search for a boss's orders. A couple other things to think about. The new 151 set is bringing out like this new supporter card, Erica's Hospitality or whatever it is. It basically lets you boss out a Pokemon from your opponent's hand, puts it on the bench, and then puts in the active. That you'll probably be wanting to run at least 1 copy of that card. That's the only way you're going to be winning any match against a Lost Box matchup, because your opponent's never going to bench a 2 prize Pokemon. They're always going to keep 1 in their hand, so you're never going to be able to boss 1 up and win a prize trade. You're going to need at least 1 copy of that card. You wait for the perfect turn, and then you pull out their Raikou V, Dragonite or something, and then you kill it. Our Roaring Moon main attack, we're not actually going to be using that one-hit knockout move. Most of the time we're going to be doing the other one, and we're going to be discarding the Pokestops for it. So I think I'll just shuffle up, and I'll show you guys how the deck works. You can actually charge it up, the attack, and go on your first turn, going second, or your second turn, going first. Like your first attack, pretty much you're ready to go all the time. You're never going to miss it. But this is also a prototype deck, so there's a lot of room for improvement. Like you're not using a V-Star power, so you've got options there. You could put a Darkrai V in V-Star, like a very thin line. I haven't tried out cross switches yet. With Pokestop, it's probably not a bad idea. And I also haven't put in tried the V-Star Forest Seal Stone. You could also scrap a Mew and put in a Bibarel line. But I do like having Mews because an extra copy of it, you can start with it and it has free retreat. So it's not actually bad having a few copies of Mew in this deck. Okay, so let's pretend that we're going first. No, we're going second. So we're going to be playing against something like... Chen Pao, and they've got the Chen Pao in the active. You're going second, which means if you're lucky, you can attack first to start winning the prize trade. Let's see how we go. Remember, there's only 7 Pokemon in the deck, so we're probably going to mulligan a bit. Yeah, so that first one was a mulligan. But the mulligans don't really matter. I don't really think you need a Iono or any hand disruption in this deck. And as for how you deal with being disrupted, I think it's not too bad. You've got 4 stadiums to bump path, and everything in your deck's burnable. You can just cast it. Alright, so we start with the Moltres V. Not the best starting option, but also it's a basic, and we got heaps of switches in the deck. So let's put some prize cards out. And the opponent has their first turn. Champow's in the active, or some sort of 200 health Pokemon, and we draw for turn. We've got a Moltres V. Do we have any ball searches? We have an Ultra Ball. Alright, we're not going to be playing Thornton, so we can get rid of that. We need the switch card to get out of the active. We're probably going to end up dumping this whole hand, so I think we're going to get rid of that Elisa Sparkle as well. I think what we should do is get... we'll see what we can get off this Pokegear first. Alright, so we whiff the Pokegear. That's fine. So let's do the Ultra Ball away a Thornton and this energy. Yeah. Because energy's in the discard, that's fine. Now we're going to be looking for Squawkabilly, but if it's prize, you take a Roaring Moon. Squawkabilly EX, fantastic. We can take a Squawk, we bench it. It's there. We don't want to use the Moltres V ability just yet. So we might actually need to use that discarded basic energy to be put on something else. I think what we might do, since we're dumping this whole hand, is use the ability here. Because that has 2 retreat costs. Then we'll switch card into that. Energy switch that to here. So now we can retreat with it. And then we use Squawkabilly. 6 cards. Hoping to get a research. So we got a research. Fantastic. A bench of Mew EX. We can use that bucket on the Pokegear to get 2 darkness energies out of the deck. That is great. Then we can discard our Professor Sada and... Oh. Yeah, Professor Sada and an Ultra Ball. See if we can get a Roaring Moon. There's our Roaring Moon. Excellent. Now, look at this. So the Mew lets you draw until 3 cards in your hand. So now's probably a perfect time to use the ability. We can actually attach 1 energy to our Roaring Moon, draw 2 cards with Mew. Now we have a switch card and a basic energy. I think we might just dump the hand now because we can use our Dark Patches only works on the bench Pokemon, and then we can always energy switch something like that later. All right, let's see if we can get Professor's Research for 7 cards. Cool, so we got another Roaring Moon. And Mew EX, Ultra Ball, a Dark Patch, and a Boss. So let's put down the Mew. Actually, let's thin the hand first. So we'll Nest Ball for nothing, play the Mew. Ultra Ball, a Boss, and a Roaring Moon away for nothing. Then we'll play our Dark Patch, which puts the Darkness energy onto Roaring Moon here, giving us 1 more Darkness energy in the discard pile. We get to use this Mew EX one last time, draw 3 cards. And, oh, I think we just missed the knockout on our second turn. That was pretty close. The starting Moltres didn't help. Interesting. So I could have probably kept the Professor Sada because that is an extra energy attachment. So we probably lost that game. Let's try another one. So it definitely needs more testing. Unless I just made some horrible mistakes. You're only allowed to use 1 Squawkabilly a game. Let's do it again. Let's see if we can going second again. So we can attack first. Let's see if we can get our Roaring Moon in the active. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope, we got a mulligan. Yeah, so there's not a lot of Pokemon. Gonna get lots of mulligans, so I probably need to put in like an extra Roaring Moon. Probably want to be starting Roaring Moon all the time. Or Mew, something with free retreat. Alright, so we got the Roaring Moon in the active. See if we can get it right this time. They have their turn, we draw a card, Ancient Steroids, we put that on it, it's now 290 health. Pop down our Pokestop. See if we got some ball search options. We've got a Nest Ball. We're gonna Nest Ball, try and get a Squawkabilly out. Not bad, there's our Squawkabilly. Then, do we have Darkness Energies? We do. Got a Darkness Energy in here. We have a Dark Patch in our hand. So we're gonna see if we can try and mill a Darkness Energy from this Pokestop and use the Dark Patch. This Pokestop, there's a Darkness in there. Pokestop and Energy Switch, all right. Get to keep that. We don't actually have any Darkness on the bench. We can't use that. So I think what we do here is do a manual attach to, no. Yeah, manual attach to Roaring Moon. Then we'll use our Professor's Research because we're probably not going to get another supporter in our next hand. We're gonna have to use the Squawkabilly. There's a Dark Patch, another Pokestop, the old bucket. No ball search options. We can Dark Patch to this and switch it out. All right, so let's do the double escape rope. dark patch that second one on here. Then escape rope back. Then we can old bucket away this Pokestop. Get 2 more darkness energies. Now we're going to be looking for here a Moltres V and an energy switch. So we escape rope takes us back. Squawkabilly EX. 6 new cards. Energy switch, please. Yes. And a no bull search. Ooh, that's rough. So we missed it again. This deck probably needs some more dark type Pokemon, because I keep getting like the dark patches. Yeah, dark patches, energy switches, but I don't have ways of getting it on. We've just had one nest ball. What can we do here? Nothing. We can just pass and it won't get knocked out. Next turn we draw. There's our second Roaring Moon. And I guess we just use the Elisa Sparkle this turn. That new one, the Sada one, and then it lets you draw 3 cards. And then we put the Ancient Steroids on that, and then we nest ball for a Moltres V. Cool. Then we Pokestop. Boss is gone. We get a bucket and a nest ball. We can nest ball for a Mew. And then we bucket a Pokestop. 2 more energies. We get 1. And then we can Ultra Ball away. No, we'll just keep that. We're going to attach that to our second Roaring Moon, get this ready to charge up. It's got 1. Then we should have a Darkness Energy in here. No, we don't. The rest must be prized. So it looks like all our darknesses are prized. That's kind of rough. I do have enough to do the knockout, so we can actually use the second one. Discard this, knocks out a 2 prize Pokemon. Get a darkness and that, and then they'll probably knock this out. We can send this guy up. We can draw a card. We can put a darkness energy onto this. We can use Moltres V's ability to put a darkness energy onto it. Then we can also Ultra Ball away the Ancient Tool and Galarian Moltres. We're going to try and get our last Roaring Moon. We can Dark Patch onto it. And then we can energy switch this here. So now next turn we're pretty much all ready to go. Now we can also Mew once, draw 1 card. And I don't think we're going to research, we're just going to attack for the first attack, which guarantees a KO on whatever it is, and then leaves it with 80 health, 67 or 90 health. And then they kill it. And then we finally send up the last one. We draw a card. We might need boss's orders here. Let's attach the energy to that. Let's do Moltres V ability. Attach it to there. We've got 2 more in here. Probably going to be Ultra Balling away the 2 researchers. Is there anything else left? There's a Mew. We'll take that. We need that last boss. So this is how we're going to use the Pokegear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cards left in deck. We need to take out 5 to be able to guarantee this. So we're going to need to burn the energy switch. Put that on the Mew, just for fun, and then draw 2 with first Mew's ability. Oh, we got the boss. Nice. There we go. Now, but if you didn't get the boss, you would basically burn this card into a Mew, free retreat it back, do the second Mew ability, and now you should be able to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, get pretty close to getting a boss's orders off this Pokegear. Leave the last 2 cards, and that would have been, probably would have been a boss's orders. So we use the boss to win the game. So pretty cool deck. Really, still needs a lot of work. I might add some more Pokemon to it. More Darkness. Definitely needs more Dark Knight Pokemon. But yeah, sick deck. I'm gonna keep working on it. But this is a good prototype for Roaring Moon EX. So check it out, guys. Let me know how it's going with your deck building and playing strategies. Thanks for watching this video. Peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.